Well, I didn't know how they met, other than, it was my understanding that they met through Youth for Christ, but I didn't know how or where or what. It was a Redwood Falls function or something like that, so.
How did they get them together?
Well, I just remember Chelsea saying something about how Rachel thought and Seth knew about this guy that he worked with. And they thought they could make a good pair.
So Seth works with Justin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Rachel is his wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chelsea was in Rachel's wedding.
Mm.
So that's how they got together. Or
Friends,
on
good
that.
friends, yep.
So what was your reaction when you first met Justin? Kind of a quiet kid.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, I remember when he first walked in and Chelsea said that he was afraid and scared to come in and meet me, that he was intimidated by me. And I said, Chelsea, do I ever intimidate anybody? Think about it.
And everybody else rolls their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, Rick.
Yeah. So, but he was very shy, you know, and it took a few, 3 or 4 meetings, or not meetings, but just gatherings, if you
Mhm.
want to say, just kind of open him up, loosen him up a little bit.
But he
Yeah.
actually did better than Chance, because Chance wouldn't come out of his car to begin with. So
Oh, really? Let's
he
ask him
must be
about
more
that.
intimidating than we think.
It must be, I don't know, so.
Might just
But
have
anyway,
something to
he
do
was- He was
with
very quiet,
the father figure, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
So all the women in your family must have wore you down pretty well.
Thank you, that's a great one, good
What
job.
was that?
No, I don't know. I just, you know. Well,
But, but he, you know, it didn't take very long for Justin to kind of open up, and, you know, you feel sorry almost for these young people, because they come in and they want to communicate, they want to talk about something, but I would guess maybe there is some intimidation doing that, and, you know, and so you just try and keep the conversation going. Justin and I had a lot of things to talk about that were in common, simply because he likes to hunt, and I
Mhm.
like to hunt. He likes to fish. He's not very good at it, but he likes to fish. No, it's Chance and Justin and I went fishing here just last week, and I ran the boat. Justin took the fish off that Chance caught, and that was about that was about as far as we got. So,
Well, what was your reaction to when you found out that they were going to get married? Or how did she tell you?
I guess, well, we kind of knew because Justin had gone and talked to Rick. And so then it was like, well, we can't really say much to the other kids then, because we already know.
By the way, Justin was sweating talking to Rick for about 2 months, I think.
I think so, yeah, because we kind of thought maybe it would happen when they went out to Chicago to see Cameron and his wife, but then it didn't happen then. So,
he came in. I knew something was up because he came into the office on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and I think it was during tax
Yeah, it was
season.
During tax time,
season.
too.
Something's up, you know, so, and after he, you know, you could tell he was just, there was a little bit of small talk, and you could tell he was just nervous. Poor young man was just nervous. So I think I finally asked him if that's what he was there to ask me. So,
What did he say? Yeah.
yeah, no, he did ask the question, which was, you know, very nice of him. He would not have had to have done that, because, you know, these are good young kids and they know what they're doing, and I respect.
but you did try to warn him about Chelsea.
Well, you know, they hadn't really known each other really that long.
What
So-
what would be the warning?
Well, I think I just kind of said that, you know, that just be aware that everybody has a strong personality, and Chelsea has a personality that maybe he hadn't seen yet, and I don't mean that in a bad way, Chelsea, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, just everybody has a personality, just like you and I, and just maybe he hadn't seen that side, and just make sure that they talk about those things and make sure they understand those things before they get married, and find out later that that's not what they thought.
Do you think preparing for this wedding made them realize their true identities, if you want to call it that? You know?
Yeah, I think they kind of, you know, become more aware of what's important to each other. What I say?
You go through a year of counseling, marriage counseling, you know, I think all of the issues that you kind of don't think
Yeah.
about come out. so.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they, you know, I remember when Justin and Chelsea sat down with me one evening, going through their budget, you know, as part of their marriage counseling, and was looking at a budget, putting a budget together, and Chelsea's pretty sharp. You know, I didn't know where Justin was at in that arena, but Chelsea is pretty sharp in that arena, and she had 80-90% of everything that they needed there, and but we sat down together, all three of us, and no, I don't mean to exclude you, Norma, but you're not much for budgets, so, but sat down with the three of us and went through it, and I think they'll stick very, very close to it, so.
Yeah, Justin, not good with money, but I think he struggled, but I think he's like learned from Chelsea, and he respects the fact that she can do that. Because
Chelsea's a saver, and I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but she is a true saver. She's probably has more ability to save than maybe even Norm and I do. She's just very focused on saving and preparing for the future, which is very
That's
positive.
great, yeah.
Very positive. So
how was the siblings' reaction to?
Well, it's good now.
Now?
Yeah, it was like a three ring circus when Travis found out. And part of it was we only talked to Travis and Darcy a little bit more, but Travis maybe once a week because he's hard to get a hold of. And then after Justin went and talked to Rick, you can't say too much of like, guess what's happening? And so we didn't quite keep him in the loop as much as we should have. So when she called to tell Travis, he kind of lost it as the big brother. And
weren't we in Europe?
we were at the airport, and
We get a call.
I
Joanne.
called and said, you know, she says, oh, by the way, I got a hold of Travis. And then later on I called Darcy, and Darcy says, did you talk to Chelsea? And I said, well, yeah. And she said, well, did you say anything? And no, well, Travis had lost it with her and called Darcy and said, who's this guy? And what's she marrying him? She doesn't even know him. What's going on? And I think I made her cry. What should I do?
I heard there was a little bit of animosity when everyone first found out Justin proposed.
It was more the fact that we felt like Chelsea was like 5. You know, you forget that they grow up, so we're happy for you, Chelsea.
Everybody was just surprised because kind of like what Joan said is she doesn't seem old enough because when I left, she was only 13. So she still had braces and glasses and was kind of a dork. Sorry, Chelsea. But yeah, everybody was just surprised, but everybody knew that they were very happy, so.
From my point of view, I called Trav. Well, I called Joan, and Joan was like, I figured. And I called Darcy, and Darcy was like, what? Are you serious? And then I called Trav, and Travis was, he was very shocked and didn't believe me, and he made me cry. And so then I got off the phone with him, and then a little while later, Darcy called me back and said, Trav just called me, he thinks he made you cry, and I'm bawling, and I said, he did make me cry. And then while I was talking to Darcy, I got a beep from Joan, and Joan answered the phone, and I answered the phone with Joan. She was bawling and said, we don't want to make you feel bad, we didn't mean it. So Travis had called everyone, so yeah. There was a little bit of drama, but we're good.
Do you know there was an issue about when they heard you had proposed between all the
I
kids?
could about imagine that there was. No, our relationship, we were only dating and seeing each other for a year when I proposed, and about 4 months before that, I already asked her father. And so, yeah, I could see where there would be some issues, or a little bit of a thing there. Hopefully, over the last year, we've got over that. So
I think you have.
So we're just kind of glad we missed the whole
We
thing.
were gone for a couple of weeks, and when we came back, it was
Yeah,
all
it was-
settled.
it was
Everybody
all
was
settled.
happy, so.
Big brother got over the fact that his little sister, his baby sister, was getting married.
And I don't think that either Joan or Darcy were surprised, were they?
Well, Joan knew all, and Darcy was a little surprised just because she wasn't around as much, but it wasn't blown away like it was for Travis. And so Big Brother got a little too protective.
Any advice for Sean's brother on how to keep your sister
just agree with her. she, just agree. Go with the flow with her and let it go if she starts pouting.
So are we talking stubborn?
Stubborn a little bit, but just go with it. She'll calm down, move on.
So any advice for the couple?
Again, like what Joan said, just, you know, if you're getting mad at each other, just sort it out. Don't let grudges kind of carry on. Yeah, Justin, just agree with Chelsea, right? She's not necessarily stubborn, but just kind of likes things done the way that she likes things.
That would be known as stubborn.
Okay, you can. I was trying to sugarcoat it, but
Don't sugarcoat.
all right.
It's family.
All right.
Any wishes? Yeah, I guess that'd be fall under the advice for Justin. Any advice for Chelsea specifically? I guess you don't really know Justin, but from
Advice for Chelsea?
Yeah.
Just loosen up sometimes, right? She can be a little bit, you know, like I said, she can be a little bit stuck in her ways sometimes, and she's a lot of fun when she loosens up, which I found out in Vegas. So that probably sounded bad, didn't it? But yeah,
What
found out
happens
in
there
Vegas,
stays there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just have fun.
You got anything embarrassing you can tell me about Chelsea that Justin should look out for?
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, start somewhere.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
Is there a strong personality trait that Justin should get ready for? Yeah, you got one to
High
say.
maintenance.
I mean, what was Justin's reaction when he saw you in the dress and your hair done and everything for the first time?
He just stood there. Kind of went. Didn't make any noise or anything. But when I was walking up to him, I could tell he was nervous because he was standing there kind of going.
I think there was like 3 or 4 cameras there.
I know. Yeah, there were quite a few, but I think he was surprised.
What'd you think when you saw her for the first time?
I was amazed.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was.
You never saw the dress or anything?
No, I haven't seen the dress. Had no idea what she looked like, her hair or anything. So, and I was standing just over here, and I had to face the window. And she came in and tapped me. I had to stay facing the window. And then, of course, they had all the cameras ready to go to catch what I was going to do. So, it was
So,
cool.
do you remember the first time you saw Justin?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I saw him at YFC, and he was sitting across from me, and that was basically it.
So,
That was the first time.
he said he didn't talk to you at that time.
No.
No, but you remembered it?
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, this could be somebody I could see, or did you think it? Really?
Yeah. Well, actually, I looked across and I thought, I wonder if he's single. And then we never talked, so I left, and I thought, well, guess not.
First time I saw her was, I was at a senior high Bible study, and she was mentoring the lady who was running the Bible study. So she came walking in, and I knew she was a senior high girl. You know, I knew she was someone, and she just captured my heart. I was like, God, is this for really the one? Can't be, you know? She's beautiful. And turns out 6 months later, we ended up going on our first date. So from the first time I saw her and was captured by her, it was at least 4 months before I ever spoke to her in person. So it was pretty neat story.
Let me ask you this: when you first saw her, did you know that was the girl you were going to marry?
My heart was wishing it would be. Yeah, I wanted it to be, but I didn't know. You know, I thought maybe I didn't know anything about her, so it was nice. It's nice now to know that she was the one. It took me 6 months because then,
Start up again.
okay.
Why did it take you 6 months?
It took 6 months because my friend Seth finally brought up the fact that Chelsea was single, and then his wife.
Did you ask if she was single?
Well, he mentioned he was trying to hook me up with one of his friends that were single. So he mentioned Chelsea, and I'm like, that name sounds familiar. I think I saw her in Redwood one time. So that got me even more interested because and so we ended up gathering together at his place and just hanging out and having a good time. And then a couple months later, I asked her out finally. It worked out.
Alright, and then your jackets. Alright, that looks Justin, can I just come right to that? Alright.
I gotta stop yawning because I can't breathe.
That's why I keep yawning.
We all have corsets on or what?
Yeah, pretty much. They're built into the dress. Are these things?
You got the ratcheted on or what?
Oh, you look, you got
like
a
the
bang
thing.
there. You
Oh,
can't
sure.
bend.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I was like, what are
Bring them more to your side a little bit. Chelsea, during the ceremony, do you want the bridesmaids to have their both hands on flowers? Or just both hands on your flower sleeves? And then throw them both out. There you go. All right, everybody looking right here. Big smiles, like you mean it. Looking right. All right, Alex has got a good smile. Everybody else? One more time, right here. Perfect. That looks great.